Steven, congratulations firstly on last night. Looking ahead to Sunday's match already, Dundee United are fighting for a spot in the top six at the moment, and they've had a slightly better run of form of late. What do you think Mickey Mellon's side are going to be bringing?
Well, obviously there's a rivalry there before the ball's kicked, so we know that Dundee are going to come into Ibrox and be ready. They're going to fight for everything. They did that in the first game we played at Ibrox. Unfortunately, on the day they met us when we were really in top form. But he's a manager that I respect. I know he's going to fire his troops up and they'll be ready, but the focus will be very much on us and how we play. Our home form's been outstanding this season, 14 from 14 when you talk about the league. And we want to improve on that. The important thing sitting here right now is to get the boys recovered and get them ready physically and mentally, because we know it'll be a good test.
Robbie, go ahead, please.
Hi, Stephen. Just wondered if you could give us an update on Kemal Roof and James Tavernier, if you would, and if there was any other bumps and bruises that will miss the weekend.
Well, last night, basically, we came home from the game and we all went separate ways to bed. There was a little bit of food on. The doctor had already assessed them before I spoke to you, so nothing's changed in terms of what I know. There will be MRI scans set up either later today or first thing tomorrow. So by the time we meet again at Ibrox, I should have more information on it and a better update for you. In terms of everyone else has come through the game and should be ready for the weekend. And we've also got, obviously, Jermaine Defoe to add to that when we get back as well, which is it softens the Kemal blow a little bit.
Luke, Shanley, please.
Stephen, just on that right-back situation, we know that there's the situation with Nathan. If you had to play Leon Balogun there, he was talking about it earlier, would you have any issues, or are you worried about maybe the depth now in that position?
No, listen, in an ideal situation, I think everyone knows I've been quite consistent in terms of who have played there with James. We'll see what the scan shows in terms of what he's going to miss. He'll obviously miss the next few, for sure. But I'd have no issues or insecurities playing Leon there. When we recruited Leon, we were aware that he could play centre-back or right-back. He'd done that in his German days. And he's an experienced player. He knows the game. He knows how we play. So he can certainly do a job there. We've also got Ryan Jack, who's done it previous as well. We reluctantly want to keep Jacko where he is. And we reluctantly don't want to put him back to using him as a right back. Same with Glenn Kamara or Scott Arfield. So we have got options in there. They're not the ideal options in terms of the midfield lads. So Leon's probably more ready for it, if you like. He's got the physical capabilities of adapting to play there. At the same time, we might look outside. We're just going to have to wait to see what news comes back in terms of James's injury. We might have to look for an emergency situation there. But at the moment, I'm happy to go with Leon.
Morning, Stephen. You spoke earlier in the week about this squad being the type that like to play, recover. In a period like this, does that then encourage you when you see guys like Ryan Jack, Yanis Hadji coming off the bench and adding to your options with good displays?
Yeah, I think it's important now, and I think we're showing the strength in depth that we've got here. Jacko's been incredible since he's come back from his injury, and I'd like to play Jacko every minute of every game. He is that type that you need in your team, but I've got to protect him from himself. He has had a couple of issues. He does need looking after and offloading, and we want to use him and have him available for the key games that are left. So the idea was to look after him yesterday, but use him if needed for a smaller period of the game. And now he's ready and fresh to go into the weekend, which is a big game for us. Same with Ryan Kent. He's had a little niggle in his knee area of late. I don't think it's anything to worry about. But we've been playing Ryan an awful lot, and he's been training an awful lot. So the idea was to look after both of them yesterday, and we've got away with it by doing that. So them two will go into the weekend extremely fresh.
Andrew McLean.
Hi, Stephen. I think, given your heart rate last night, you'll be urging your players for a more straightforward game if possible on Sunday.
Yeah, 1-0 win will do me.
What lessons do you think you need to learn from that game to take into Sunday's game?
I think, to be fair to the players, we've had a big gap in terms of the last time we played in Europe, and this is a different level. It's a different level in terms of quality, in terms of intensity and the speed of the game, and also it's a different level in terms of if you're not perfect in terms of your organisation and your shape and you make a couple of individual errors within the game, you'll get punished for it. So I think it was a bit of a welcome back to the Europa League level for us as a squad and a team last night. I think we'll be better next Thursday for that, and I think we'll also be better at the weekend for it, because I think it's only natural that it takes time to get back up to speed, because it's such a different level to what we're used to domestically.
Stephen, there were so many distractions last night. A penalty you could have had, a penalty they got that probably shouldn't have been a penalty. How impressed were you with the focus of the players and their willingness to stick with it and see it out and win it in the end?
Yeah, they were very impressive. I think one thing you can never accuse this group of is togetherness, character, and, you know, fronting adversity. You know, we did have a difficult week preparing into it. We didn't want to use that as an excuse, but there's a lot of noise around everything else but this game. We obviously got a few injuries within the game. We gave a penalty away that if VAR weren't there, we might have got away with. Could have had a couple ourselves. I think it's a case of, you know, really praising the group for how they handled themselves in the whole week. I said they trained extremely well considering. I had a good feeling we could win the game. Maybe not in the manner we did. So we'll certainly learn from the goals we've conceded. But all in all, assessing the week that we've had, I'm so proud of the players for adapting and showing grit and determination to get the job done. But yeah, you know, we've got a fantastic dressing room. I can't praise them enough in terms of how they go about the work on a daily basis. It's just a shame that there's certain people that have let that down of late.
Stephen, can I just, obviously the mantra of the last few weeks has been one game at a time. Is that even more important after a sort of night like last night, where the emotions go sort of up and down through the course of the 90 minutes? And also, can I just ask, when you said there about an emergency situation to perhaps replacing James, is that perhaps signing a player who's out of contract? Is that what you mean by that?
First part of your question, I absolutely loved last night. I love competing at this level. It's a proper game of football, two teams full of talented players really going for each other and really wanting that victory. It was an emotional game, but that's how I like it. They're the games you want to be involved in. The players loved it as well. I could tell after the game they were buzzing with the outcome of the game. I had to challenge them a bit at half-time, but they reacted superbly well. It's almost like we separate competitions, if you like. We realise the Europa League level is going to be different from domestic. But the games are coming thick and fast. It's what we're used to in terms of the schedule, so we won't complain. We'll just get on with it and get them ready for each challenge that comes our way. In terms of the second part of your question, it will all depend on the outcome of James's scan. I think in Kamar's situation, we've got big numbers on the top end of the pitch. We've got Scott Wright ready to go. He's ready. Ryan Kent's obviously come on last night, played well, but he's had a rest. And we've obviously got Joe Aribo playing up a line, Yanis Hadji. We've got Greg Stewart. We've got Jermaine Defoe coming back to it. So I'm more than happy and satisfied that Kamar will recover from this injury and get back in maybe 2-3 weeks, all being well. In terms of James, it's an area of the knee where this could be days, it could be weeks, but it could be longer than that. We have to just wait and see what the outcome is. I don't think any doctor can look at this and use his hands and tell you the exact day or date of return. So we need a positive outcome in terms of the scan. Depending on whether it's days and weeks, we won't do anything. If it's anything more severe than that, we might have to go in and look on the outside for an emergency situation.
Gabriel, please.
Stephen, obviously you've not had too much time to look back at last night's game yet, but have you had a chance to have a look tactically, perhaps why it was quite uncharacteristic of you? Do you think it was just a step up to the Europa League? Obviously it was a fantastic result in the end, but why there were so many goals in the game?
No, not at all. I think the easy option for me here as a manager is to say, oh yeah, it's just one of them nights and blah, blah. We didn't defend well enough for certain situations in the game. You know, we give a silly foul away, which we spoke about prior to the game. We said, you know, these are the team that carry a threat in terms of set pieces. And you've got to be more tighter, more aggressive to protect your red zone in your area and protect Alan's goal. We didn't do that. The kid scored a fantastic header. So that's where we went wrong on the first one. The second one, Davo, there's been minimal contact. Spoke to Davo. He said domestically he doesn't think it would have been a penalty, but because of VAR, it's a difficult one, a bit harsh on us, but we accept it and we move on. And the third one again, we could have defended our 18-yard box an awful lot better than we did, but credit to the kid. It's a fantastic strike from outside the box. We could have got up to it a lot quicker. Obviously, Scott getting back up to speed has turned the ball over in our final third. So we know, and the players know what we could have done better. So analysing it from that point of view, we certainly could have avoided all 3 of them goals. But it just goes to show if you're not perfect in terms of your organisation or the detail, you're going to concede goals at this level. So we need to improve on that in a week's time for sure.
Finally, Ronnie, go ahead, please.
Even you mentioned pre-match, you didn't want to be mentioned in the same breath as Walter Smith or Dick Advocaat. That win does equal Walter Smith though, so you must be immensely proud. And considering there may be more European games on the horizon, I mean, you could break that record. What would that mean to you?
Well, first and foremost, I've got nothing but respect for Walter Smith and Dick Advocaat and all the other managers that have gone before me. I've said that before. What I meant by that is I don't deserve to be in the same breath or conversation as them managers because they've been successful Rangers managers. I haven't. We're really proud of our record in Europe as a group of staff, and we're really proud of the team, what they've gave. We want to go and finish this job off next week and match what we did last year, and then see what the draw brings to hopefully have the chance to go a step further than we did last year. It's always about trying to raise the level and raise the bar and keep impressing ourselves from a European point of view. But you know, when people talk about history and breaking records and stuff, it doesn't really interest me, although I've got nothing but major respect for Walter Smith. He's been fantastic for me. He's been sort of a unofficial mentor, if you like. Any time I want to speak to him, he's been in to see me a couple of times further on before the lockdown came. So I know he's at the end of a phone anytime I need him, and that experience for me is crucial.
Thank you very much, guys. See you Sunday if you're coming along.
Thanks, Steve.
Guys, cheers.
Cheers.